Myself Dr. Pallavi Railavhale, and today I am going to teach you BP 405T Pharmacognosy subject unit 4. In the last lectures we have discussed about the role of pharmacognosy in allopathy and Ayurveda, and now we are going to discuss about the role of pharmacognosy in Unani as well as Siddha system of medicine. So, we will be understanding what are the basic principles of these systems, and then we will go to the role of pharmacognosy in these two systems of medicine. So, if we start with the Unani system of medicine, basically Unani system of medicine, it originated in Greece, and mainly the Greek philosopher Hippocrates was a person who first started and gave a few information or knowledge about the this system of medicine. However, you all know that Hippocrates, he is the father of medicine, and he was the first person who told us that there is no kind of curse or superstition because of which a person is suffering, but there are many medicines which are available which can treat these sufferings. And there were he had many students who followed him and started practicing his preachings. So, Galen was one of the person who followed Hippocrates, and he was one of the person who stabilized this foundation in the Arabic physicians. In Arabic physicians, one person, that is Raziz as well as Avicenna, both of them, they started constructing this whole system of medicine, that is the Unani medicine. Now, what happened that there was some kind of disturbance in those Arabic areas in during about say around 1000 or 700 years ago, because of which these practitioners, they started refuging at different places, and then they came to India, and at that time we had the Mughal dynasty ruling our country. So, what happened that the Mughal dynasty, they allowed these Unani practitioners to start practicing their system of medicine, and gradually in today's time it has become one of the most utilized system of medicine in our country. So, you must be seeing various Hakims which practice this Unani system of medicines, and there are many industries like Hamdard, which is one of the major Unani system of medicine manufacturing company. So, Unani system of medicine, Unani considers the human body to be made up of 7 compounds, just like the Sapta Dhatus are there in Ayurveda. Here there are 7 components which are mainly the Arkan. Arkan are the elements, Mijas, they are the temperaments or the nature of a person, Aklat, that is the humors or the liquids present in the body, Anza are the organs present in the body, Arva as the spirit, means how the energy is getting in these organs for them to run. Kuo are the faculties or the systems like the respiratory system or the digestive system, and Afal, they are the functions. So, here you can understand elements means like the Panchatatvas, like here we have 4 elements in as per the Unani system. They are mainly earth, then we have the fire, water as well as air. We do not have ether in case of Unani system. Okay. So, here we have 4 elements. Then Mijas, Mijas are the temperaments. We will discuss the temperaments in detail along with the humors also. Organs are the different parts of our body. Organs can be external organs or the internal organs. Arva are the spirits or the energy which lets these organs work, like our heart is keeping on, it keeps on beating, okay, it keeps on pumping the blood. Okay. So, how is it getting the energy? That is the Arva. Kuo are the faculties, like my digestive system, my respiratory system, they are my faculties. And then the Afal, that is the functions. What are the functions of these faculties? So, if we understand them individually, we understand that actually the entire body is divided into 7 different parts. However, their final output is that the person is staying healthy. It together comes out that how a human body works. So, physician takes into account all these factors before diagnosing and prescribing the treatment. So, here we can understand this is a, you can say, combination of the elements as well as the temperaments as well as the basically humors. I will call them we saw them as the 3 things, Arkan, Mijas and the Aklat. Okay. So, Arkan is basically earth. Earth has the mijas to be cold and it is related to blood. Air, that is light. So, it is related to dry nature and here it is related to phlegm, that is the sputum. Water, it has the nature of wetness and it is related to yellow bile, while fire, it is related to hot mijas and it is related to black bile. So, you can see that a hot nature is there in blood also, it is there in yellow bile also. Dry nature, okay, dry nature is there in yellow bile as well as black bile. Cold nature is there in black bile as well as the mucus, and wet nature is there in blood as well as phlegm. Okay. Or I can say that blood is having hot and wet nature, yellow bile is having hot and dry nature, black bile is having dry and cold nature, while phlegm or the sputum, it is having wet and cold nature. Okay. So, here this the basically the humors, they are made up of the different mijas which are combinations of hot and dry, okay, hot and wet, okay. Then it can be cold and dry, cold and wet. So, we have this 8 different points and when they mix together we get the different humors. So, basically when there is a equilibrium in these humors, the person is fine, but when there is any disturbance in the person in these humors, then the functions of the body get disturbed, because of which external entity of a similar temperament is giving to the patient, okay, to bring back to the normal state of the health. Okay. Unani medicine believes in promotion of health, prevention of disease and cure. So, basically it says there are 6 essential things which is known as the asbabe sitta zaruriya in the Arabic language. There are 6 things which have to be there in a person to say that yes, you are healthy. He has to get fresh atmospheric air, he has to have pure drink and food, he has to sleep properly, as well as when he is awake he has to be enough active or wakeful. His excretion should be proper, but it should not be excess, like it should not be a diarrhea like condition. He should not be having any constipation or he should not be having any diarrhea. Okay. So, there should be retention as well as excretion. If there will be no retention, the person suffers from dehydration. Okay. Then physical activity and rest. Person should do enough physical rest activity, but he should also take enough rest. So, there has to be a balance. Same is the case with mental activity, like we should not overwork our brain, it leads to stress, but we should not underwork our brain so that we become very dull and our brain stops working properly. So, all these 6 points come under the asbabe sitta zaruriya, which have to be followed for a healthy life as per Unani system. For diagnosis in Unani system, the person uses the nabs or the pulse. Physical examination of urine and stool is also there, and in today's time the modern gadgets are also used for the diagnosis of diseases. For the treatment in Unani system, basically there are 4 points by which the treatment is done. The first is ilaj bil tadbir. Ilaj bil tadbir means regimental therapy, where the person is given exercise, he is given massages. There are special hammams or the Turkish baths where they are allowed to take baths so that the cleansing takes place, that is the regimental therapy. Second is ilaj bil giza, which is known as the dietotherapy, where the person is recommended with a specific diet and he has to follow that diet to get a improvement in his health. The third way of treatment is ilaj bil dawa, where the pharmacotherapy is done, where the main role of a pharmacist comes in, and here the treatment is done in 2 ways. One is when the drugs of opposite temperament are given to the temperament of the disease. It is known as ilaj bil zid. Zid means like opposite. Okay. So, if a person is having a disease of a hot temperament, then a drug of a cold temperament is given, that is ilaj bil zid. But it opposite, means a person with a drug with a similar temperament is given to the disease, that is known as ilaj bil misl. It means that the person is suffering from he is having his basic temperament or hot temperament has increased, and we are giving a drug which is also of a hot temperament. So, here we are giving two drugs of similar temperaments for the treatment, and this comes under the concept of ilaj bil misl. Then we have ilaj bil yad, which is related to surgery. Okay. So, these are the four different methods of treatment as per the Unani system of medicine. So, the drugs here mostly are used, they are of plant origin. Sometimes minerals and animal products can also be used for the treatment. Patients are generally treated either with single drugs or they are mixture of drugs. Generally, two types of compound drugs are used in the treatment of diseases. First of all, the classical compound drugs, which are in use for hundreds and thousands of years, and the patent proprietary compounds, that is the second case where we have the patented drugs which are used and formulated into novel formulations which were not there in tradition, and today also their researches as well as evidences are getting collected. Then Unani system of medicine is one of the oldest system of medicine in the world, and it is still popular and practiced in Indian subcontinent and many other parts of the world. Now we come to the Siddha system of medicine. So, Siddha system of medicine is I would say like a relative of Ayurveda, because many of the concepts of Siddha and Ayurveda are similar, because they generated in the same time in India. However, in North India the concept was a bit different, in South India the concept was a bit different. In Southern India more stress was given to meditation and the use of bhasmas compared to North India, where the organic substances were used for the treatments. Okay. So, the person who mainly gave this Siddha system of medicine to Southern India was Agastya Guru, okay, sage Agastya. He has originated the Tamil language, as well as he also converted much of the knowledge which he had related to treatments, and he had compiled the Siddha system of medicine. So, here again it is very much similar to Ayurveda, as I said, and here we have two essential entities, one is the matter and another is the energy. Okay. In Sanskrit it is known as the Shiva and the Shakti. Okay. Matter is related to Shiva, God Shiva, and energy is related to goddess Shakti. Okay. So, generally Shiva is the male part, Shakti is the female part, and they also correlated to the creation. They are the primordial elements, that is basically there are the bhutas. The bhutas are nothing but what? The panch tattvas in our Ayurveda. Like we have Mun, which is solid, Neer, which is fluid, Thi, which is radiance, Vayu, which is gas, and Akasam, which is ether. This is exactly same to the Ayurveda. Okay. Here terminologies are different, however, the Panchatattvas are the same. Mun, solid, is related to earth, Neer, fluid, is related to jal or water, Thi, radiance, is related to Agni or fire, Vayu, gas, is related to the Akasam, it is related to the air, and Akasam, ether, that is related to the vacuum which we have studied. Okay. So, they are same as that in Ayurveda. And again the concept of Vata, Pitta and Kapha, here it is termed as Vatam, Pittam and Karpam in case of the Siddha system of medicine. So, basically the Tridosham, they are balance between Vatam, Pittam and Karpam, and in each and every cell of the body these three doshas, they coexist and function harmoniously. So, Vatam is formed by Akash and Vayu. Okay, we have discussed this same in Ayurveda, and generally it controls the nervous actions such as movements and sensations. Pittam is formed from Thi, and Thi means fire. So, it is formed from fire as well as water, and it basically controls the metabolic activity of the body, the digestion, assimilation and warmth in the body, maintaining the temperature in the body. Karpam is formed from mun and neer, which is mainly earth and water, and they control the stability. When their equilibrium is upset, disease sets in. So, it helps in maintaining the stability of the body. So, the three dosha are involved in all the functions of the body, physical, mental and emotional. Vatam, it is basically its characteristic as it is made up of the air and vacuum or ether. It has dry nature, dry, night, cold nature, and it is very mobile, it means it moves very easily. It is basically it controls the nervous actions and constitutes the movement related activity. Pittam is the heat mover of the nervous force of the body and it controls the metabolic activity. Karpam, it is related to smoothness, firmness, viscidity, heaviness, and it is formed by mun and neer, and it controls again the stability, strength and potency of the body. Now, as per Siddha system, again we have the Sapta Dhatus. Here the names are slightly different, like Rasa is the lymph, their Rasa is the plasma, Kurudhi is the blood, Tasai is the muscle, Kosupu is the adipose tissue, Ilambu is the bone, Majjai is the bone marrow, and Sukilam and Artavam are the male and female hormones which are produced. So, these are the 7 dhatus or materials which are produced in the Siddha system of medicine. Now, method of treatment in the Siddha system of medicine. So, here basically by substituting a drug of the same constituents or gunas, the equilibrium is restored. So, as it is similar to Ayurveda, when the balance in Vatam, Pittam and Karpam is there, when there is any disbalance, so that balance is brought back by giving a drug of opposite nature. Okay. So, the correlation, so the correction of the imbalance is made by substituting the drug which is predominantly of the opposite nature. An example of Vatam imbalance is cold dry. Okay. If a person is having a cold dry nature and he is suffering from a disbalance in Vatam, then what will be the treatment? It will be that we have to give any kind of oily and warmth producing substance. So, generally what is said that there should be a massage if there is any kind of inactivity of the limbs due to the cold and dry nature. So, it is massaged using warm oil. So, that will help in the treatment. If we take about another example where the Pittam dosha is there, the Pitta increases the warmth in the body. Now, warmth in the body or the hotness in the body is increased. So, how it can be decreased? We have to give certain cold substances. So, it can be that we can administer the chandan or sandalwood. If a person is having hotness, he is given cold things like chandan either internally or externally to maintain the equilibrium. Then method of treatment, basically 5 types of vayus are followed. One is the prana. Prana, it is located in the mouth and the nostrils and it aids in the ingestion of the air. Apana, it is located in the anal extremity and basically helps in expulsion and elimination. Samana, it is a equalizer and it aids in digestion, it helps in balancing in the body. Vyana, it helps in the circulation of blood and nutrients, and Udana, it helps in function in the upper respiratory passage. Now, if we talk about the Siddha Pharmacy. So, the Siddha system of medicine here uses many of the metals or heavy metals for the treatment. As I told you, in Ayurveda generally organic substances are preferred. However, many inorganic substances are added, but in Siddha system of medicine, generally majority of the medicines are of inorganic nature, and in that one of the most used ingredient is basically mercury. Okay. So, mercury, as you all know, it is considered to be a very poisonous ingredient, but it is one of the important ingredients in Ayurveda as well as Siddha systems. Mercury occupies a very high place in Siddha medicine. It is used as a catalytic agent in many of the medicines. The addition of sulfur helps to control the fluidity of mercury. Now, all of you know that mercury is a liquid metal, okay, it does not exist as a solid metal. Now, to have a reduction in this fluidity, it is combined with sulfur, and in this combination exists in different forms and colors and properties also. So, when we add sulfur, its fluidity reduces and this converts it to mercuric sulphide, which is insoluble in mineral acids. Siddha uses 5 forms of mercury. One is mercury metal, which is known as the rasam, where we use the pure mercury. Then we have the red sulphide of mercury, which is known as the lingam. Then we have mercury chloride, which is known as the veeram. Mercuric subchloride, it is known as the puram, and red oxide of mercury, which is known as the rasa shenduram, which is also known as the sindoor. Okay. So, that is sindoor is nothing but mercuric sulphide. So, these are the 5 different ways in which mercury can be prescribed or administered to the patients who are following Siddha system. However, I would say that whenever we are using these these heavy metals, they are used to be, has to be very much restricted and monitored, because in case we do not follow the exact procedures mentioned in the traditional text for formulating these products, then we are actually poisoning the person. So, we have to be very careful when we are using such heavy metals. We have to keep in mind that poisoning should not occur, and we have to follow each and every step very keenly, very precisely. If we look at the classification of Siddha medicines, so one classification means we have the properties of generally these inorganic substances. One property or one classification is Uppu, also known as Lavanam. Here the drugs dissolve in water and they are basically dissipated when put into fire, giving off vapors. So, they are basically water soluble inorganic compounds. There are 25 varieties and are called as Karacharan or salts and alkalis. The second category is the Pashanam. Pashanam drugs are those drugs that do not dissolve in water, but they give off water vapor when put in fire. So, they are water insoluble inorganic compounds. Then Upasaram. Upasaram are those drugs that do not dissolve in water, but they are similar to Pashanam, only differing in their actions. So, they are slightly different in their actions, such as mica, magnetic iron, antimony, zinc sulphate, iron pyrites and ferrous sulphate. Loham, they are basically the mineral and mineral alloys. So, they are water soluble, they melt in fire, solidify on cooling, and the examples are gold, silver, copper, iron, tin and lead. We have rasam, they are the drugs that are soluble, they sublime when put in fire and change into small crystals such as mercury amalgams and compounds of mercury arsenic. We have gandhakam, that is the sulfur related compounds. They are insoluble in water, but they burn off when put in fire. We have the ratnas and the upratnas, they are the gems, okay, gemstones, and examples are coral, then we have pearls, diamonds, jade, emerald, ruby, etc. So, the Siddha Pharmacy, it formulates the formulation into different types of dosage forms. For example, bhasmas, they are the calcined metals and minerals, churnas are the powders, kashayas are the decoctions, then leha are the confections or the sweet substances, gritas are the ghee preparations and telas are the oily preparations, chuna are the metallic preparations which become alkaline, Mezugu, they are the waxy preparations, and Kattu, they are the preparation, they are impervious to water and flames. Okay. So, these are slightly different formulations compared to the Ayurvedic formulations, but yes, in southern India and in many of the parts of country, these formulations are used to a great extent and they are definitely effective in nature. If we look at few other substances which are used in Siddha Pharmacy, one is sulfur. Then sulfur basically is used as either calcined sulfur or red oxide of sulfur. It can be obtained by solidifying it first by the Siddha method of purification. In small doses, it conserves the body and it is diaphoretic and alterative. Therapeutically, it is used in both external and internal remedies against skin diseases, rheumatic arthritis, asthma, jaundice and blood poisoning. Arsenic is also a heavy metal as per the Siddha Kalpa, and its purified and consolidated arsenic is effective against all fevers, asthma and anemia. Gold is used as a alterative, nervine tonic, antidote to poison and a powerful sexual stimulant. Very little gold is absorbed in the system and care has to be taken whenever we are giving calcinated products of gold to the patients, because there are because the absorption gets affected if they are not properly calcinated. So, here in this lecture we have studied the two systems of medicine, Unani system of medicine and Siddha system of medicine, as well as we understood what kind of formulations are used in this system of medicine and how a pharmacognosist can help in the preparation as well as quality control of this formulation. So, with this we end this lecture. Thank you very much.